Basically, the fundamental concept that has been ringing around in my head
Yeah.
is that everything happens according to God's will, cosmic law, and that me as an individual doer has no control over the past and the way things have gone, or the things that will happen in the future ultimately. So that renders any thought about the past or the future completely superfluous, comes to mind, but unnecessary, I guess.
So does it now, are you saying that whatever you do, Greg has no responsibility? Is that the conclusion
Well,
you have come?
the conclusion would be that Greg never had any choice or responsibility in the first place, so why would he start having it now?
Yes. So are you telling me that what you understood from me, A, that Greg can merely watch whatever happens through his body-mind organism as God's action through this body-mind organism, and Greg is not responsible for what happens?
Ultimately, according to the universal cosmic laws as you're talking about them, anything I do, it just happens, and it was never a choice of this thing that we call Greg, you know?
Yes, but having had that, is there no responsibility for Greg as an individual member of the society?
Well, the society will hold me accountable ultimately. So of course, everything I do, that will be in the.
You'll still be responsible to the society.
Sure.
Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
So you can't say that Greg is not responsible for his actions.
Absolutely.
So how do you reconcile that two? How will you reconcile the two?
I don't really think it's in my control to reconcile it or not. I think, I don't know, I'm just, more and more, it's the concept that you're giving me, when it fully rings around in my head, you know, it's just like, it's just not me anymore. And so there's no point in even thinking about how I'll reconcile it, or if I'll reconcile it or not, because these things will happen when they need to happen.
Yeah. So with this understanding,
Yeah.
How will Greg live his life? How would he live his life now? If you were to describe how will you live your life today? What will be your answer?
According to God's will, cosmic law.
Oh yes. but in practicality, how will you live your life?
Well, I'll react to whatever situation comes.
Yes.
And I'll react to it when it happens.
You will react to any situation precisely the way you think you feel at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that right?
Sure.
I see.
The way I want to feel, really, the way I want to act.
Yes. And then what happens?
And then that situation will be over, and there'll be a new situation, and I'll react to that one the same way.
But whatever you do in a given situation, the society, you know that it is happening. I perfectly agree.
Yeah.
But the society does not think so.
Sure.
Society would consider that action as your action.
Yeah.
Incidentally, what will the society think is your action then? You do something now. The society cannot know what you have done.
What do you mean?
You do something.
I do something.
Yes. What does the society consider as your action?
The action I've done.
No. Fact. I mean, fact. You do something.
Yeah.
But have you ever been sure of the result of your action?
Never.
See what I mean? Therefore, my point is.
So yeah, it's beyond.
Fact number one: every human being has to have total free will to deal with any situation. Otherwise, daily living cannot happen. Therefore, I would say God was forced to give every human being total free will to do whatever he wanted in any given situation. Same thing applies to the psychopath or the criminal. The psychopath and the criminal has as much free will to do whatever he wants in a given situation as Greg or Ramesh has. Having done it, fact number two, No one in the world has ever had any control over the result of his action. And what has been everybody's experience? Everybody's experience has been, sometimes I've got what I wanted, sometimes I've not got what I wanted, and sometimes what I got was beyond expectation. Many times for the worse, sometimes for the better. Which of the three things happens has never ever been in anyone's control. And what the society considers my action or your action is not what we have actually done, but what has happened.
Yeah.
One of three things over which no one has had any control. That's life, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I do something, one of three things happens. Society considers what has happened, one of those things, as my action. Judges it as good or bad, according to existing social regulations and legal provisions, decides it as good or bad, rewards me or punishes me. Reward means pleasure, punishment means pain. That is the broad analysis of daily living. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is what is happening. So my basic point is, with this daily living being what it is, over which no one has any control, and every one of us is supposed to live his life in the circumstances in which he has been placed. What does Greg want most in life? That is my focused question.
Yeah.
So Greg doesn't want to spend his life eating mushrooms.
I mean, the answer is happiness.
Let's begin.
Yeah, sure.
You will do whatever job comes your way.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Isn't that right?
This is.
You will choose. If you have the choice, you will choose that job which you like best.
Yeah, so recently I haven't been making any plans, and now, to be honest, the way the past, I don't know.
Past how many years?
I haven't been making plans since I finished this working. Really, I finished. I earned a bunch of money in 1 year.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Oh no! Fantastic.
Sure.
Don't tell me mushrooms have done it. You look 20. I'm not. You look 25.
He is 25. He is 25.
25 did you say?
Yeah.
I thought you said 45. I thought you said 45. That's why has mushrooms done it? 25. I see.
So, but what I was gonna say was, recently, this past week, I guess mostly since your concept has been, really I was aware that I needed to reprogram my mind before I came here to Mumbai, and what I was trying to do was implement and put in new systems of thought and new ways of seeing the world and new perspectives that I thought needed to be put in there in order to help me see the world more according to what I should see the world as, or this idea I had. And then really, since listening to you, has been the first time that I've really been forced to recognize that ultimately the answer lies in recognizing that it's a computer, and that I've never had any control over who's putting in the programs or not, and that it's just this ultimately this
Yes, in any situation, you have to decide what you should do.
Yes, and so now
So how do you decide what you should do?
Now it's what I want to do. And now all of a sudden I'm having these thoughts of going back to the USA for the first time. Like, a month ago I would have never thought of this, but now the situations as they are and how they presented themselves to me, it makes a lot of sense for me to go back to the USA right now.
Continue your study or seek a job?
I have no idea, really. Because
But if you decide to continue your studies, where would the money come from? Do you have parents?
I have parents.
So if you decide to have,
My parents would support me with anything I want to do.
so if you want to decide to study, your parents would be in a position to help you.
Yeah, they would love to help
I
me.
see, I see, I see.
Especially if I told them I was going to school.
That's what they would like.
They would, they would love to.
I see.
And
What does your father do?
he's a physicist. He works in experimental physics.
Physicist?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So we have great talks about metaphysics and their philosophical implications and things like this.
So he's also interested in the philosophical implications of the physics,
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Much more so the practical application.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see.
But also, yeah.
I see. So do other people meet at your place and talk about this?
No.
They don't.
I mean, I haven't lived in with my parents for more than a few months in 5, 6, or 7 years, So it's always when I go home, it's just a quick visit, really.
How long you will be there before you again off somewhere, is it?
Yeah, usually that's how it's been.
And your parents don't mind?
They minded for. It's gotten easier for them to the point where now they
have accepted you.
They've accepted it
as you are.
They've accepted, and it was like that when I accepted them as they are. Immediately, they accepted me as I am. When I went home with the full acceptance that they're
So now when you go from here, what's your program now?
Now, I mean, what really happened was I lost my passport a few months ago. And this is an interesting situation in India because I just got my new passport yesterday, no problem. Yesterday I went to the FRO office, and they were pretty certain that I just had to leave the country. No questions asked. There's no way for me to get a new visa here in India. So this being what it is, it looks like I'll be leaving the country, whether Nepal, Thailand, or the USA, very shortly. They say 2 to 3 days, but I'm well aware that I can do whatever I need to do.
What's your intention now? Where will you go?
It looks like I'll probably go back to the USA because for the first time, I really feel like I can. For some reason, in my life, there's always been, yesterday especially, after going to this office and really fully putting in my head this fact that I've never had any control over where I've ended up and what's happening now, and that everything's going to happen the way it's going to happen no matter what. I mean, when I was really putting this in my head, it's just like an extreme rush, and the past 3 or 4 days, whenever this has been happening, I've just been putting my head down, and it's been a mixture of tears that want to come out and hysterical laughing because it's just so absurd to think that I ever had this control when really I'm in this situation now that I never could have been anywhere else, So to think of how much time was spent thinking things could have been other ways, it just becomes this big joke, or it was to me.
But could it have been any other way? Could it possibly have been any other way?
No. Well,
what you're saying, I think, is you wasted a lot of time deciding whether you do this or that.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But isn't that what you still have to do? Because that is precisely the fact that you do have free will.
Yeah.
In a given situation, you still have to decide.
So now it's like, so now it's like what I want to do. Ultimately, yeah?
So now
I can do whatever I want to do.
With your understanding now, how do you reconcile the two things?
The two things.
Let me put it this.
I can do whatever I want
in a given situation, Greg is free to do whatever he likes.
Yes.
What happens, he has no control.
Yes.
And yet he has to make a decision. What happens, whatever happens according to God's will, cosmic law, and your destiny. That is the situation.
Yeah.
So with that understanding, how will you live your life from now on? That's my question.
I mean, I guess I'm going to
With this understanding, which is a fact, how will Greg live his life from now on?
From now on?
In a given situation, what will you do? You will
whatever
still
I
have to
want do,
decide.
right? I mean,
You
see, this
still
is
have
using
to
your
decide.
words. I'm trying to feel them, really. That I'll do whatever I want to do ultimately.
Yeah. So in a given situation, you will still do what you feel like doing.
Yeah, and I won't have attachment or worries
So
about.
how will you decide what to do? How will you decide what to do?
With the knowledge that whatever I do is the only thing I ever could have done.
Yes, but with that, in a given situation, how will you come to a conclusion? What to do or not to do?
What to do or not to do.
You still have to decide it on the condition as you see fit at that time.
Yes.
See what I mean? Knowing that whatever you do is already predetermined,
Uh-huh.
you
So
cannot
with
know
full- I
what
guess
to do.
With full attention as to that specific thing.
Yes.
With full attention.
Yeah.
Giving it my full,
Quite right.
complete and utter
Yeah, yeah.
attention. Or
So in a given situation,
yeah.
you will use your brain, consider all the possible alternatives,
Yeah.
and choose the one which you think at that time is the best one.
Absolutely.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And then you will do what you think you should do.
Yes.
And thereafter what? And thereafter what? How does the understanding help you thereafter?
Because I want.
In doing anything, there is no question.
Yeah.
I have to decide on merits of the case as I see it.
Uh-huh.
But having done it, what thereafter what will happen to Greg? That's my point. Having done it,
Having looked at all the possibilities, choosing the
yes,
best
but
one.
your experience is you don't know any one of three things can happen.
Yeah, I have no idea what the results of the action that I thought was best.
Yes.
That this mind body.
And
thinks,
thereafter,
no, this is the right
yes,
decision.
thereafter how will Greg live?
With complete comfort and ease, knowing that whatever happens in the future because of this action was not in my hands, and when I look back, if I choose to look back, if it happens that I look back at this decision, knowing that not to have any attachment to any harm it may have caused anyone, and not to have any pride about the good things it did, because ultimately it was out of my hands from the beginning, and I just used this brain that's been given to me to choose this best decision that in the moment was the only decision, was what I thought was the best decision.
Yes, yes.
And also I'll
So
continue.
what you are saying, am I right? What you are saying is you will do at any moment whatever you think you should do in your best interest. After that, knowing what happens has never been in your control.
Yeah.
You will accept whatever happens.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
You will accept whatever happens.
Yeah.
And if it turns out to be wrong, then what happens? Will you blame
If
yourself?
it's wrong, then I know that to try to call one thing wrong in this world is complete and utter absurdity, because if one thing's wrong, that means the whole thing's wrong.
No. But let's get to
Okay.
You do something, one of three things happens.
Okay.
If it is right, no problem.
Uh-huh.
If it is not precisely what you expected, then what will judge do?
I'll accept it as not what was supposed to happen. And
Yes. And treat that as a fresh situation
yes.
in which you will have to make a fresh decision.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Really, it's an opportunity for a new situation.
Yes. So my understanding is of it is
Uh-huh.
you should do whatever you've done. You never know which of the three things happen. Whatever happens, you accept it without any regrets about what has been
Yes.
done, which means a lot of you save a lot of unnecessary worry, and in that fresh situation you take a fresh decision and do whatever you mean. So as I see it, Greg, which is what I do, frankly, which is exactly what I do. I do whatever I feel like doing it. Whatever happens, I expect, and if whatever happens presents a fresh situation, again I do whatever is necessary.
Yeah.
But the result of it, as far as I am concerned, is having done whatever it is, knowing that I have no control, I do not expect anything. No expectations for me means no frustration. The new situation, again I deal whatever I deal with it. And I continue dealing with situations as they arise without any regrets about the past, no complaints in the present, because each time in the present situation, I do whatever I feel like doing. No complaints in the present and no expectations in the future, because expectation can only mean frustration. Does that seem right to you? Is that what you would be doing?
It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So what is the result?
Peace of mind.
Yeah. The result is you keep on doing whatever is necessary in any situation, because that is life.
Yeah.
Having done whatever you have no control over the result. Therefore life means you keep on doing whatever you feel like doing in a given situation. Thereafter accept whatever happens.
Yeah.
And whatever happens creates a situation, you again deal with it. So my point is, if that total acceptance means, as far as I am concerned, I have no problem, no regrets about the past, no complaints in the present, no expectations in the future, which has meant peace of mind. But important point I am making is, peace of mind does not mean accepting everything happens as God's will, therefore I lie back and do nothing. That's my point. It does not mean that. Having accepted everything happens as God's will, cosmic law, I still living my life means I still do in a given situation whatever I feel I should do, making a calculated decision about even whether the matter is small or big. My nature is to make a calculated decision. Whether in your case, what happens? Is your nature, is your genes and conditioning such that you make a responsible decision? In your case, what is your case? Are you able to make a responsible decision in most circumstances?
Sure.
You do.
Sure.
What would you do if you are not able to make a responsible decision?
Accept that.
No. You have to do one or the other in a given situation. You are not able to make a decision. What would you do? But that's not your problem. You can make a decision. You say you can make a decision.
Well, I've made lots of decisions.
Yes. Supposing you are not able, someone asks you, well, you make a decision. I'm not able to make a decision. What do I do? What will you tell him?
That it's not in my hands.
Therefore what? That he says, it's not in my hands. Therefore what? Therefore, simple like that, toss a coin. What will you do? What else will you do? That's what I'm saying here. Therefore, life means, in a given situation, you have to make a decision. If you are able to make a responsible decision, make it. If you are not, toss a coin. But life won't stop, life goes on. So each time, life means making a decision, doing whatever you want. But thereafter, if you don't accept, you are not able to accept the basic fact that what happened thereafter has never been in my control. It's God's will, cosmic law, my destiny. Then what you happens is, you keep on regretting the past.
Sure.
You keep on expecting something in the future, and you're miserable. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, the two can be easily reconciled. That whatever happens has never been in my control, And yet, in a given situation, my responsibility to do whatever I want, because the result of it will be judged by the society, and that will result in pleasure or pain for me. Reward or punishment decided by the society. Reward means pleasure, punishment means pain. So I do whatever I feel I should do, but the important point I'm making is, having done whatever I want to, I can never really know whether that will result in pleasure or pain, which I have to accept. So accepting the pleasure or pain, I have no regrets about the past, no complaints in the present, no expectations in the future. What I am saying is, people find it difficult to combine the two. I still have to make a decision. And you are telling me everything happens according to God's will.
Sure.
So my point is, really no difficulty at all. The two concepts are not contradictory.
No.
They're complementary. Is that your experience?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You have been coming here for a week. What brought you here?
What brought me here?
What brought you here? You heard about me in the internet or something?
A good friend, Jorge.
I'm sorry?
George. This guy George, he's Guatemalan. He was here. He's been telling me, and also David. I met them both up at Rishikesh, and
I see.
and you know, I read some of the things from your book every now and then.
What were you doing in Rishikesh? Some ashram?
Practicing yoga. No, I wasn't in an ashram.
Oh.
I was staying in a hotel. But I was, learning.
So you went there to take lessons in yoga?
Well, you know, I went there because a girl wanted to go there who was coming to India to see me. So I went there with her and fell into some good yoga classes and also fell into a beautiful massage course, started practicing these things.
Oh, I see.
Great ways to open up my mind and my body completely, you know.
So now, are you in a position to be a yoga teacher?
No.
And not your intention either?
No.
But you do yoga?
Yes.
You continue to do yoga?
Yeah, as long as I'm on this earth, I'll be doing some sort of yoga-like thing.
And it's done you a lot of good?
Absolutely.
I see.
Absolutely.
And the healing, what kind of healing did you?
Massage. I've been learning some massage, practicing massage, and this has also been an excellent way of, for me personally, to get in touch with the human body and to just learn and to really, you know, let go of a lot of old ideas I had about touching people or being touched. And
so have you given massage to a number of people?
yeah.
So now you can use it as a profession?
Absolutely.
Oh, I see. Any particular kind of massage?
Lots of oil, lots of deep strokes. You know, but I think that'll be something, really, the feeling I have that for the first time in 5 or 6 years, I feel like I can go live in the United States of America. And I haven't had that feeling in a very long time.
I say that again, please.
For the first time, I feel like I can live in the USA.
Yes.
And be at peace, you know?
I see.
Which is an amazing feeling because I've just been traveling or just, you know, going different places and just seeing what happens and knowing things happen and they'll happen and just letting things happen. But now I guess it's more, I would say, almost using this free will that I have to, because all of a sudden, you know, a couple of days ago, just for example, I saw this young kid, this Turkish kid, who's been living in India, and he's got this, you know, full suit, a briefcase with a laptop. And I was thinking, for so long, I've been rejecting these things, you know, and rejecting this idea and image I have of a successful person or according to society's version of success. But now I'm like, well, you know, I've been living this like hippie life with long hair and a beard for a long time, and maybe it's time for a complete change because it's all fine, it's all cool, you know.
In other words, you don't need to have long hair.
No, I'm done.
You don't need to cultivate an outside personality.
Absolutely. Yeah, and in fact, I don't want it anymore. You know, I don't want some outside personality. I'm kind of ready just to.
You're happy as you are.
I'm happy as I am. I just kind of want to blend and like, I don't know why, you know, but I'm ready to go back to Connecticut for a little while, and I'm sure
ready
things
to
will happen.
go back to normal life.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, and I just have this feeling, you know, and I've been learning to live my life according to these feelings and these intuitions that I have, because ultimately that's what brought me here, to this you know, this city and this place, and you know, looking at opportunities and being aware of different doors closing and opening, and just not fighting, you know. As soon as I stopped fighting and pushing for things, things just started happening on their own, you know. And so along with those lines of thinking and living, it looks like it's just easy. It's just the easiest choice right now, just to go back to the USA. Like, I mean, I would never have thought this a week ago. Pff, are you kidding me? Like, go back. But you know,
So,
but now it's like, why not?
so now, are you saying, Greg, that it's easier to go with the flow of life rather than opposing it?
Yes. And not to try to control the flow of life, I guess, as well. And not to think I have some control over the flow of life. I only have control over specific situations.
You only have control over a particular situation.
Yeah.
In the sense that in a given situation, you are free to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But having done it, no more control.
That's beautiful.
I see. Yes. So now, with this understanding of how life goes, what is the most important thing you want in life as happiness?
As happiness, well, now I want to go home and and just hang out with my family and my extended family.
And living like that will get you what? As the most important thing you want.
Yeah.
As happiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Peace of mind.
Yeah.
So would you agree that the most important thing in life is peace of mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, for a long time I lived with illusions of good and bad and right and wrong, you know, thinking that things had to be like this in order to be good and right. And but a part of me really knew all along that only by filling this search, making myself happy, was the only way I'll ever have any real impact. If I choose, or if I will have an impact in this world, only by being happy myself and being at peace with myself would be any kind of progress done. And that's when I started looking inside, you know, and I don't know, it brought me
So
here.
you always felt that what you really want in life is peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's amazing, your concept, this concept that you have. I mean, it's just because for a long time I knew, oh, you have to, you know, just these things like, oh, I need to live in the moment, I need to be more compassionate, this and that. But really
I need to do this, I need to do that.
this is crap, you know, because the only way that really these things can happen is embracing for me, was embracing your concepts of that. You know, I never had any control kind of over these past things and future things in the first place, so that's why I don't need to worry about them. Because all along I'm like, I shouldn't be worrying about this thing that happened in the past, I shouldn't be thinking about this thing that happened in the future. But only by saying it's God's will, cosmic law, that this already happened, then it's easy to get rid of that stuff in the past.
But combined with it,
with this absolute free will to do whatever I want right now.
that's the point.
Yeah.
Therefore, you don't feel irresponsible.
Yeah.
That's what letting things happen
Yeah, absolutely.
does not make you feel irresponsible.
No.
You are responsible to the extent that in a given situation you do precisely what you think you should do.
Yeah.
How long have you been coming here now?
About
7
a week.
days, is it?
Yeah, about a week.
I see. And you have no question? I didn't.
I mean, I'm curious, I guess, about the.
Or did they get answered?
What's that?
Or did they questions arose but they got answered?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, I was here the first day actually, and sitting here I came. They asked me if I had a good grasp of English, and I said yeah. So that was enough to get me in the seat. And at that point, everything you were saying was just registering as.
I see. Everything I kept on saying, you said yes, that's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, but, so there were no questions.
But there was no yes but. There was no yes but.
No, not really.
you kept accepting.
Yeah.
That is so. That is so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I see.
Absolutely.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, any questions for Greg? You have a question for Greg?
Questions for Ramesh?
Why not just ask him?
Please. No, wait a minute. Please.
That wasn't my idea. Let's give this a try here. I'm Lee, also from the United States, and I would say this is virtually an impossible act to follow. That is what Greg has been telling us is of great beauty and profound insight to life.
But you say it is totally impractical.
No, I would not say so at all. I'd say it was perfectly practical.
It is practical.
Yes, totally practical. It's the only thing that's practical.
Yes,
I'm saying
yes.
it would be an impossible act to follow. That is, he's given us something of extraordinary value. And all I wanted to do was to ask him this question. Okay, and then I'll follow with a comment if I may. But the question would be this.
Yeah.
Many of us who live in the United States see that taken as a whole, I'll use a very gross term, taken as a whole, perhaps Greg will agree or not agree, the United States psyche is, forgive me for using this phrase, a sewer of neurosis. Now, he has said, I think essentially, that he has felt over these last many years that he could not possibly ever go back to the United States and live because the atmosphere is so extremely oppressive.
Yeah.
Would that be correct, Greg?
Yeah, sure.
That would be correct. Okay, so now what we want to know, we agree with that totally.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Would ease your question then? The atmosphere in the United States continues to be the same.
Yes, but how is he different so that he can go back? That's the question. What has been the transition in the last week from never go back to today when he says, hey, that's a possibility?
I think the answer is simple, but would you like to answer?
I mean, really, it's perfect as it is, really. You tell your answer, please.
The answer is, how am I concerned with the atmosphere in the United States?
Exactly, yes.
I'm concerned with my peace of mind, which I have.
Exactly.
And if the atmosphere in the USA is that, then people in the USA will not be as happy as I am.
Correct. Perfect. Absolutely right.
Isn't that right?
That's it.
But what made you think that with the atmosphere in the USA being what it is, it will be difficult for Greg to live the way he wants to live?
Well,
did you think it would be difficult for him?
Given his present state of mind, I think he can pull it off. Because, as he says, if you don't push back, then you don't get the resistance yourself.
That's the point.
You're just going along with your life.
Yes.
He is going to live his life. Yes. Let others do what they will.
And an important point, Greg is not interested in being an activist to improve life in America.
That's correct. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But someone may say, that's bad. Everybody should live as I'm doing. So he's not interested in that.
But you see, consistent with his present state of mind, he would be feeling something like this. What is going on is God's will, cosmic law.
Yes.
And it is absolutely not mine to judge it or reject it.
That's it. That's exactly it. Therefore, he is not going to be an activist.
Yes.
Yeah. And if it happens that I become an actor, what an actor, you know?
You know, that is why, Lee, the whole point is, that is why, Lee, my focus point is, what happens to the world, not my concern. That's God's. All I'm concerned with is to be at peace with myself. And then I went a step further, if you remember. What do I mean by being at peace with myself? Whatever happens, in the moment to moment, I have no control. Whether I have pleasure or pain in the moment, I have no control, which I have to accept. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm always at peace with myself. Why? No regrets about the past, no complaints in the present, no expectations in the future. That's peace of mind. And what is peace of mind? Never being uncomfortable with myself, never being uncomfortable with the other. So my point really is, what the human being is looking for is truly so simple.
You could also say that in terms of, if we may use this term, doing God's will, if you do that, let's say that you're a servant of the Most High, this is pure religious language, you're a servant of the Most High, then in what currency are you going to be paid? And your answer to this question is, you're going to be paid with peace of mind.
Yes.
That is what you're paid with.
Yes, but even more accurately, what did you say? Doing what is God's will.
Or let's say not resisting reality, not resisting truth.
I will say, letting God's will happen through me.
Yes, exactly. Okay, that's what I mean.
Not even doing God's will.
Yes.
Not even doing God's will.
Yes.
I mean, true, doing God's will. But if you go a little further, you see, whatever I do is based on two factors, my genes and my condition. I had no control over being born to particular parents. I had no control over the genes. And the genes, more and more research brings out how powerful this factor of genes is. There is conditioning. Just I had no control over being born to particular parents in a particular geographical environment and a particular social environment. Upper class, upper middle class, lower middle class or lower class. In which environment this body-mind organism has received a bombardment of conditioning. This is good, that is bad, you must do this, you must not do that. So that whatever I do, and I do what I do because in a given situation, I decide what I want to do. But what I decide to do, total my free will, is based only on two factors, my genes and my up-to-date conditioning, both of which were infused into this body-mind organism by God.
So we could say that that is the condition, that is the circumstance in which we are living life, in which we are responding.
That is the basis on which we live our life.
The basis, yes, exactly.
So therefore the consequence of that is, obviously, whatever I've been doing all my life, whatever I've just done, is precisely what God expected me to do. More accurately, whatever I've been doing, which I thought was my doing, is really God functioning through this human instrument and bringing about whatever was supposed to happen. Consequence of which I as an individual have to accept the society's verdict.
In Old Testament language, there's a phrase which goes, "We shall go into the house of the Lord and live therein forever." Now, the idea of living in the house of the Lord is exactly what you've described. Seek first the kingdom of heaven and its order, and everything else follows. And the one thing we're seeking, as you put it, is this peace of mind. This equanimity with regard to whatever condition we find ourselves in. Or the New Testament phrase is, "Thy grace is sufficient for me." That's it. Phenomenal. Absolutely great.
Therefore, ultimately, whatever I want is totally selfish. That's what I keep saying. I'm concerned with my happiness. The only point is I have to decide what is happiness. Usually the adult pursues pleasures with the mistaken notion that he is pursuing happiness. So only when the person concerned, by the grace of God, realizes that pursuing pleasures is not pursuing happiness. So therefore I keep on saying the most important conclusion to come to is the happiness that I want is not to be found in the pleasures of life. Therefore it cannot be found in the flow of life. Therefore it can only be found in my attitude to life.
The reason that it cannot be found in the flow of life is the flow of life as we know it is the known, and the known is not being repeated. Creation is happening from moment to moment.
Yes, but I mean that we are going to higher, I don't know, I want the higher philosophy.
Higher
Philosophy, what you have just said.
Yeah.
What all I'm saying is,
Yeah.
life means pleasure or pain. Flow of life means pleasure or pain. And my own experience is that the happiness I'm seeking, the deeper, is not to be found in my pleasure, certainly not in pain. So if my happiness is not to be found in the pleasures of life, that means I'm not concerned with the flow of life. Let the flow of life happen. I'm only concerned with the selfish motive of my happiness. That's what I'm saying. You see, frankly, Lee, what happened is, earlier I pursued enlightenment, which ended in frustration. So I decided to pursue happiness for myself. And I came to enlightenment. I started with pursuing my happiness, so hell with the rest of the thing. And my happiness, I realized, means peace of mind. And peace of mind can only be if I don't hate the other, and I don't carry a load of hatred for the other, and I don't carry a load of hatred for myself. In fact, I can't hurt the other cannot hurt me. We are merely pawns in this love, through which life happens according to God's will, cosmic law. So there again, I'm totally against the established practice. What is enlightenment? Even peace of mind. Peace of mind and through enlightenment means no more separation. I thought that honestly came to that's absolute bullshit. Even to the last moment, until the body is alive, every sage lived as that individual body, mind, as that individual entity. How can you say there is no separation?
Well, I think you could say, in a sense, that there would be no separation to the extent that we don't resist the flow, what is happening in life.
No, that is more than that, not just resistantly. We have no separation only to the extent that we are not individual doers.
Okay, yes.
That is the only separation which disappears. Therefore, originally I was told enlightenment means no separation. No separation means no ego.
False.
And I said, that's rubbish.
Totally false.
That's rubbish. Ramana Maharshi lived for 50 years in that ashram as Ramana Maharshi. Somebody has said, Ramana Maharshi didn't live in the ashram as nobody home. He was very much home in the ashram. Nobody home.
Totally false.
So Ramana Maharshi lived morning till night. There, because of his pains in the body, relaxed on the giving answers to anybody. Giving answers as Ramana Maharshi. Therefore, even the sage lives his life for 50 years or 5 years as the same separate entity, as the same ego. Therefore, enlightenment means the end of the ego is stupid. The real core question is, the sage lives his life as a separate ego. The ordinary person lives his life as a separate ego. What is the difference between enlightened sage and an ordinary person's ego? What is the difference between the sage living his life as an ego and the ordinary person living his life as an ego? Simple. In the ego of the sage, by the grace of God, the sense of personal doership has been uprooted. And Ramana Maharshi himself agrees with that, because he says, he describes, the ego of the sage is like the remnants of a burnt rope. Whatever the description, the ego of the sage is like. I have 10 descriptions, all referring to what? The ego of the sage. Therefore the sage lives. See, the sage also has an ego. More accurately I say, the sage also lives as an ego. You see what I mean? Therefore the core point is, what is the difference between the sage as an ego and an ordinary? In the ego of the sage, the sense of personal doership has been removed. And result of it is what? Result of it is he has peace of mind. Therefore, the point I am making is, if I have peace of mind, then I am enlightened. According to my concept, am I enlightened? Only if I have peace of mind. So I decide whether I am enlightened or not. I don't need anybody's certificate. I do have peace of mind. What do I mean by peace of mind? I am never uncomfortable with myself, I am never uncomfortable with the other. And if there is peace of mind could not have happened unless there is total acceptance that you are not the doer, nor is the other the doer.
Could we say that we're able to see that we're not the doer? Really, two senses. Let's say a really subtle sense here is that if I have an image of what I am or what I am supposed to be or how I'm supposed to act, if I have an idea, an image of this, and I act according to that in order to support the image, then I'm a doer in the sense that you're talking about. That if I have a relationship to life, or let's say to God, as you're using the term here, such that I am permitting the universe or God to define, to create, to unfold, to evolve whatever is here. You said earlier that we don't really know what's left over. That is, we know that something is operating as an ego, something is operating here as a body-mind organism, and this has continuity during this life. Now, what happens after that, as you've said, we're not absolutely clear. Something is carried over, but as to exactly what that something is, we're not positively clear. But suppose that we in ourselves, in our life, are free to let life unfold as it will, to permit, as you say, God to operate through me.
That's the point. You allow God to operate through the body, but you don't allow God to operate through the body. You say, I'm the doer.
Correct, that's right. Totally
Absolutely.
upside down.
In other words, all it means is, let God is working through me, let Him work. But there you have to accept, God functions through me, no question. But if the understanding is not clear, then why should I suffer? Because that is life. God functions through me, brings about whatever is supposed to happen. But living life, I owe it to God to accept the verdict of the society. God functions through me, but expects me to enjoy or suffer the consequence of the action which God has done through me.
Yes, exactly.
That is my life. Which
The way that you put it, Gurdjieff used this phrase. He said, we want the essence to be active, the personality to be passive. That's the relationship.
and that's the point. The personality being passive means you have to accept whatever happens from moment to moment, which is sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain.
This is so amazing because let's say you take somebody like Jesus. Now, Greg here says that he's not, if he becomes an activist, well, who knows? Maybe that's the way it is. But consider somebody like this. Imagine.
No, wait a minute. Then activism happens
Yes,
through him.
correct.
God works as an activist through him.
Yes.
But he is not an activist.
That's correct, exactly. Okay, now that's the story of Jesus, because imagine if you say to your society, to those who are holding power in your society, you say this, you say, you scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, the prostitutes and tax collectors will get to the kingdom before you do. You compass the entire sea and land looking for a single convert, and when made, he becomes twice full the child of hell that you yourselves already are. Now, those are the words of Jesus. Now, imagine if you had the freedom to let God work through you and say such a thing in your society. I mean, the only way that you could do such a thing would be to have such love for God, such complete trust in God, that you were fixed utterly on what you're calling peace of mind, that you could say such a thing, you could do such a thing with that degree of peace of mind. Phenomenal. Now, that's why I'm here. If you ask me, Lee, what are you doing here? That's what I want.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
If you were to ask me, you were to say, Lee, look, you keep coming and listening to me. What is it that you want? Why are you coming? I'm telling you, that is what I want. I want such a relationship with life, with God, such trust, such peace of mind that I can do whatever is going to happen and I can be at peace with it. Totally, 100%.
That's it. That's the whole point.
It.
And that is why I keep on, you see, the general impression is, all right, tell me, am I working or is God working?
God is working.
Then I'm not working. Why should I be punished?
Well,
you see?
Because then I can...
That is where it has to be, that is where it has to be shown that it's not contradictory, they're complementary.
That's correct. In fact, in a certain sense, it's a kind of test, because if God wants to do something through you that you see as a catastrophe right off, I'm talking about the life of Jesus, for example, you see that what he's doing is a catastrophe relative to his personal life, and yet he's free to do it because that connection is so complete, so unbroken, a seamless garment, that he can do it.
Yes. And yet, pain in the body, like Jesus had to bear the pain like any other ordinary person. You know, they say, oh, the sage doesn't feel the pain. He damn well feels the pain. Jesus on the cross cried out in pain, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? Ramakrishna, Mother, why are you torturing me? Therefore the pain will make the body mind cry out in pain. But Jesus got the answer, thy will, O Lord, not mine. Thy will, O Lord, not mine. I am not the doer, you are the doer. Therefore my point is, God works through me. But the society's, the judgment, pleasure or pain, is a totally different thing, which is my destiny, which I have to accept, which has nothing to do with the doership. Doership only God, you are.
To be able to say that, thy will be done, means that somehow you have to be already secure in your understanding of peace of mind. That is, as you say, you're seeking something that's ultimately selfish, and yet it's ultimately the deliverance of the entire world. if the world could live in peace of mind, unbelievable things would happen here. But it's not presently, and that's just the way that things are unfolding.
That's the way they're supposed to be.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
So, any questions? Okay.